Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you today. And today we're going to do a little discussion video on a knife company that is very dear and near to my heart. Kershaw, made in America, made in the good old USA. We all love products that are made in the USA, and Kershaw has been making fantastic knives for years and years and years. And in front of you, you just see three very, very rare, no longer made, discontinued Kershaw knives. I'm just going to introduce them to you real quick, and I'm going to get to what the video is really all about. And if you want to see videos on all of these knives, you certainly can check out my channel. I actually do a video on each of the three of these knives. This is the Kershaw Tilt. This is the Kershaw Volt, and this is the Kershaw Speedform. Now, I brought these three knives out to show you guys, to discuss what's going on with Kershaw now, and what's been going on with Kershaw. So, a long while back, like about a year ago, if you go down on my channel, I did a horrible video, where I ranted and raved about Kershaw and the limited steels that they offer. At that time, they were only offering one steel, basically, which was Mauve 13, which kind of got me all angry. And at that time, this is, a couple of years back, and I ranted and raved roughly about how Kershaw has changed since the invention of a new company called Zero Tolerance. They make this knife here, the 0900, which Celeste George designed. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I ranted and raved about how Kershaw didn't have the variety of steels. They had a large variety of designs in one steel, and I thought that was kind of horrible. And the reason I thought it was horrible was because at the time, they were trying to promote zero tolerance, okay? And at the time, you had two companies, and actually two companies were melded into one company called Kai, right? So I basically ranted and raved about how come Kershaw, the lower-end company, only put out one steel, and why do they not have a middle market like the other two companies? Spyderco put out had knives that were right around the $100 range to $200 range in there. They had knives from like $80. They had knives like that were like between $40 and $80, and then the $100 range to the $200 range, all depended on the steel, the design of the knife, the materials. So Spyderco, Spyderco and Benchmade had a variety of steels and a variety of designs and a variety of prices to fit every knife lover out there. And I kind of ranted and raved about Kershaw at that time because they did not have a middle market. They only had one steel at that time. And when I mean at that time, I'm talking about the period between, I'm going to say 2007, the beginning of 2007, when all the knives you see in front of you started to die out. And then they started coming out with a plethora of lower-end knives to fit the non-knife lover, I guess. And they only had one steel, which was Mauve 13. And our favorite 14C28N at the time, which was the main steel that Kershaw was producing, started to go away, and they went for the Mauve 13. And after that, between 2007 and then the invention of zero tolerance in 2012, all Kershaw had was Mauve 13. So On with the story. In 2012, when Zero Tolerance came out, they had a handful of knives. I believe they had roughly 7 models at that time when Zero Tolerance first came out. They had a very high-end quality. They had very high-end quality knives. All their knives were all high-end quality steels, all titanium, all high-end materials. Right? And then on the other spectrum, Kershaw, you had very, very simple design. You know, you had very, very simple designs made of simple materials, not very expensive steels. But if you wanted a D2 knife, or if you wanted a CPM 154, you couldn't go to Kershaw. And you couldn't go to ZT either, because they only had steels like S35VN, they had M390s, they had way high-end steel, S60B, high-end steels out there, but nothing for middle of the road. And there seemed to be a gap missing in the market for all their knives. Now, if you look at Kershaw before that happened, they were putting out some serious knives. They were putting out knives in Vanex steel with titanium, right? This is before ZT came out, right? And they were coming out with composite blades. Now, who does composite blades now? Who does composite blades now? The people who do composite blades now are Zero Tolerance, right? So here's one with D2 and M390. And then here we have the Kershaw Speedform. You can't find this knife anywhere anymore. What a shame. In D2 and LMAX. How about that? And this is Kershaw. This is Kershaw. So we're all of us that were hungry for knives, where we had the convenience of having this before 2007. Before 2012, when Zero Tolerance came around. The market for you buying a knife, because Zero Tolerance did not exist at that time, bam, it came out, and all of a sudden the market had been split. So you only had 2 choices, right? You could either go for a high-end Zero Tolerance knife, right? Or you were stuck with, if you were lucky, a 14C28N knife that was left over from the year before. But they didn't have any D2. They didn't have any CPM 154. They didn't have a middle market for someone who was tired of the Mold 13 knives and the simple materials, but yet they couldn't afford a high-end piece like this ZT here at, what, $270 at the time? I mean, they couldn't afford that, but yet they wouldn't give you a knife that cost $130. They wouldn't give you a knife that cost $120 with medium materials and medium steel. So there was that gap that was missing. Well, here we are in 2020, and finally Kershaw has let on. Now, if you look at the Kershaw lineup now, we're seeing things change again. Okay, now we're finding out that Kershaw's coming out with knives with some titanium on them, with D2 steel. I believe they even mentioned a CPM 154 steel. So the reason I'm doing this video is that I'm hoping that Kershaw has now finally coming into their own and beginning to realize that there is a market that needs to be filled, and that's that middle market where they're going to Benchmade and they're going to Spyderco, because Kershaw and Zero Tolerance can't offer them what they're looking for, so they have to go to another company to get that. But now, here we are in 2020, their brand new lineup is starting to show some 3 or 4, I believe even 5 knives with mid steels, midline steels, middle steels, and some materials out of really good anodized aluminum scales and that kind of thing. A middle market to fill the people that want those middle market knives. I think that's kind of very, very important. So it's kind of nice now to see that Kershaw is coming back with that stuff, as opposed to when they didn't. I mean, keep in mind, Kershaw used to have knives in LMAX, guys. right? They used to have knives, and now all these knives here you're seeing in front of you are Kershaw. They're high-end quality. Well, I can't see. Bring them all down here. Camera's not where. These are all high-end quality knives, right? And they fit, and they're all high-end quality knives that Kershaw used to put out before they had zero tolerance. And then they didn't have that middle market. Well, now it seems that Kershaw is starting to finally close that middle gap. I actually thought that middle gap, where they have, where you have all those CPM 154 and those middle steels that people want, I thought that would be enough to build a third company from Kershaw, for Kai, where you would have, that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought that they were going to have zero tolerance on the high end, this middle market as a second company, and then Kershaw filling their value line, the value line knives for customers who were looking for that. That's what I thought was going to happen. Thank God that's not what's going to happen. It looks like Kershaw is going to stick with being a company that puts out the low-end knives and hopefully the midline or middle of the road knives that are better than the value knives, because they're starting to realize that there is that market. The other thing, too, that Kershaw is doing is, not Kershaw, but zero tolerance. If you look at this knife, it's pretty beefy, because that's what they lived on. That was their motto. They made these big, beastly, big as a beast type knives. And this is one of their little biggie beast knives. Because it's a small knife, but it's still, it's still pretty big. It's a big little knife, and that was this is one of the hit knives that Zero Tolerance had back at that time. And then what happened was in 2000, I think it was like 2010, 2011, 2012, they stopped producing the big little knives or the big knives. Those big like the Zero Tolerance 560. I'm sure you guys remember that knife. That was a huge knife. They just put all that aside, and they came out with knives like the 470, and because they wanted to kind of satisfy those people who like slimmer knives. So I think that's kind of great now that Zero Tolerance has come full circle again. They're bringing back the midline knives, and now they're also bringing back they're bringing back the midline knives, and then they're bringing back those big beastly knives. So we're starting to see Kershaw or Kai come full circle in their marketing plan for their company, and I think that's a great thing. And I hope that they have at least a few more models to fulfill that middle of the road. Those people that want those middle of the road knives that they're all looking for, that they're all hungry for, because there is a market for people that are not quite ready for knives that cost $270, but they are kind of tired of paying $45 for Mold 13, and I think that's sort of an important note to make. And I think the whole point of this video is just simply to say that no matter what your frustration is with these knife companies, no matter what's bothering you about what they do, keep in mind their main job is to keep you happy. And if you yell at them long enough, they eventually come around. And I'm really kind of hoping to see some new things from Kershaw. Because to be honest with you, I kind of want to get a couple more new Kershaw knives, but I'm looking for something in the middle of the road. Like I said, these are discontinued. They no longer make them. This is part of my Kershaw discontinued collection. If you want to see all these knives, you can check them all out on my YouTube channel. I did videos on each one of these. And because I'm not going to be buying any new customs, I'm probably going to go over each one of these knives as a set. In other words, I'm just going to tell you the name, the model, that whole thing. I'm going to be doing that in the next coming weeks. I'm just going to go over every discontinued Kershaw knife I have, saying the name of the knife, the model, and why I bought it and why I like it. Hopefully the video won't be any longer than a half hour. I'm just going to quickly shout out the names and the models of all the knives and talk about each one that I absolutely love. So just to sort of bring back the Kershaw brand back to my channel, because I am known as the Knife Shark guy with the largest Kershaw discontinued collection. I'm pretty sure there's somebody else out there with one larger than mine, but I do pretty much have almost all of them. There's maybe one or two or three that I do not have in my collection. So look forward to that video also. Once again, this is Omar the Knife Shark guy signing off, hoping you'll find one of these discontinued models somewhere in your collection. This is Omar the Knife Shark guy signing off. You guys have a fantastic evening. I hope this video has been pretty interesting for you. Maybe you'll find some interesting information out of this video. But yeah, be on the lookout for Kershaw's 2020 lineup, because I think you're probably going to like it. I know when I saw it on YouTube, I was crazy about it. I really can't see what else they're going to come out with this summer at SHOT Show or wherever it is that's going to be going on. Yeah. So, you know, good things from Kershaw to come. That's a good thing. I really can't wait to see more from them. They're just a fantastic company, and I hate to see them limit themselves when they know they can do so much more. So, yeah, this is Omar, the Knife Shark guy, signing off. Hoping you'll find one of the four of these someplace in your collection. You guys have a fantastic evening, and I'll catch you on the next video.